Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, January 19th, 2017. I'm Keith Tebow. In the news this week, the Amazon Fulfillment Center in Fall River is looking to hire more than the 1,800 employees already on board since September. Decent weather means good news for the city's snow removal budget. And Fall River residents are welcome to march in Boston this weekend to support women's rights. We'll take a look at these and other stories in just a few moments. But first, let's look at the headline news of the week as we bring in the digital news editor at the Fall River Herald News, Will Richmond. Will, how are you?
I'm good, Keith. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Let's start right at the top. Some more changes within the administration within Mayor Jazio Correa's office. The mayor has been in office a little over a year, and he has already lost two chiefs of staff with the announcement this week that Michael Hoare is resigning effective this Friday after only a few months on the job. Fill us in on the details of Mr. Hoare's leaving the ranks of working for the mayor. Sure.
Apparently, the chief of staff, Mike Hoare, had contacted Mayor Correa over the weekend and informed him of his plans to retire and leave the position. Mike Hoare is a retired sergeant in the police department and was coming in. He was sort of working under the reduced hours restriction that would limit what he could earn because he had already reached retirement status in a public job. So he was was reaching that point, though the calendar was changing. I believe that those hours are restricted on a calendar year basis as opposed to a fiscal year basis. But it seemed, from his comments, he felt like he wasn't able to put the commitment into the job that he felt was needed, and it was time to move on and head into retirement. And apparently, he's looking to do some traveling and spend some time in an RV he recently bought. So.
Well, I know that this was a concern when he was hired last year to take over for Christopher Perino, who was the mayor's initial chief of staff when he took office a year ago. It just seems like, again, it didn't seem like it was really thought out that this could potentially be an issue with the limited number of hours. Now, under the rules, he could only work, I believe, 960 hours in a calendar year in a position, since he's also receiving a pension. So that was a restriction right then and there. So you would thought that there would have been potentially some issue there. I mean, did any of your reporters ask the mayor and Mr. Hoare that why wasn't this considered to be a potential issue when he got hired?
Well, when he was hired, he had actually committed to staying on with the mayor until 2018. So at the point of his hire, that wasn't viewed as a problem. You may recall under Mayor Sam Sutter, his chief of staff, Lou Pacheco, was in the same position.
Right.
He was a retired police chief from Raynham and working under the same retirement situation. But while you're restricted to hours worked, it's sort of an hours worked, hours compensated kind of formula. It doesn't restrict a person from, sort of say, volunteering their time in the office as well. So Mike Hoare could have stayed on beyond the hours, the 960 limited hours within the pension requirements. He could have done so at his will and that kind of thing. And but it appeared he just wasn't for the position any longer and ready to move on and get back into that retirement life.
Right. Any idea on a timeline in terms of the mayor filling his chief of staff position?
At this point, it's not quite known. We've had the conversation with the mayor. He is down in Washington, D.C. this week for the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So, regular communication isn't as consistent right now. But certainly he has said that he is looking to hire someone that has more of a chief of staff background. His first hire, as you mentioned, was an old high school friend, young guy as well. And then, Chief Sergeant Mike Hoare came from the police department. He had served as the administrative assistant for the chief for a couple of years. So he brought some of those skills, but not in the traditional sense. So At this point, he's just saying he's looking to hire someone with those traditional chief of staff skills.
All right, we'll continue to follow it as we move along into 2017. Actually, in today's paper, the Herald News, you have a story about Sheriff Tom Hodgson working out an agreement with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency to have some of the officers that work in the Bristol County Sheriff's Office to be trained in identifying potential illegal aliens that may be incarcerated at the Bristol County House of Correction. This is something that the federal government thinks will work in helping to identify those who have committed crimes, who are also here illegally. And, well, this is also something that the sheriff brought up in terms of his inauguration a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, certainly the sheriff has been very focused on the issue of immigration since being back in or returning to office a couple of weeks ago. Through this agreement, they'll be starting out with about a half dozen or so correctional officers who will be trained in terms of how to question immigrants to help determine their status, how to work with the computer systems through the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office to help share information and then help ID anyone that may be in the country illegally. The two sides look at this as a way to streamline the process of immigration enforcement while also sort of saving staff time from the ICE side of things, whereas the correctional officers from the Sheriff's Department are already there. They're doing the work, and they'll view it as a win-win for the two organizations.
Right. And even though Bristol County Sheriff's Office is involved in this, they are now part of some 33 agencies nationwide that are helping the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, including Bristol County, Massachusetts. Their sheriff there, Joseph McDonnell, has also signed on to have some of his corrections officers take part in this program as well. Tomorrow, on Friday, January 20th, the United States of America will have its 45th president, as Donald Trump will be taking the oath of office. What's the Herald News going to be doing in terms of covering the event on some sort of local level?
Sure, we're reaching out. We've been in contact with some people from the area that will be in Washington, D.C. tomorrow for the ceremonies. So we'll, hopefully, if all things go well, we'll be in touch with them to get their reactions to being there on this, what will be a historic day for sure. And, we're looking locally. We'll be talking with some folks in the area who are in the area watching things to get their thoughts on the events. And we'll continue that through the weekend as well with all the events going on, especially on the protest end. We'll be in contact with some people Saturday who are participating in the Women's March up in Boston to report on what the scene is there. So will be certainly a busy weekend for those that are politically inclined in the area.
Absolutely, especially on the national level. All right, well, thanks for joining us. We'll talk again next week.
All right, have a good weekend, Keith.
We'll have more FRC Media news right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Engineer. Cortec of Fall River is looking for a full-time engineer to review electrical, mechanical, and software computer specifications in manufacturer and blueprint form, and to write protocols related to installation, operation, and performance of the facility, utilities, computer systems, and equipment. Job number 839-6956. Personal banker. Citizens Bank, located at 36 5th Street in Fall River, is seeking an in-store personal banker to provide banking convenience services to customers and assist with teller transactions. Job number 839-4348. Restaurant cook assistant. Boston Market, located at 30 12th Street, is seeking a full-time restaurant cook assistant responsible for making sure hot, fresh food products are available at all times the restaurant is open. Job number 839-1167. Kindred Healthcare, located at 273 Oak Grove Avenue, is looking to fulfill the following positions. Certified Nurse Assistant, job number 839-7817. Licensed Practical Nurse, job number 839-7815. Assistant Nursing Director, job number 839-7814. Registered Home Health Care Nurse, job number 839-6936. For more information on these or other positions, visit FRCmedianews.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Since the Amazon Fulfillment Center opened in the city's industrial park back in September, some 1,800 Greater Fall River area residents have been hired. That in itself is good news, according to Fall River Career Center's Joe Viana, who adds that Amazon officials want to bring on more people in the coming months.
Now, are the jobs that are being offered at Amazon all full-time?
Yes, they're full-time jobs. Even the part-time ones, not the part-time, the ones for the weekends and for the holidays, for their seasonal, are all full-time. So it's a very good opportunity, and people that get hired during the season can convert over to full-time during the entire year if they so wish. So and of course if Amazon extends an offer, so it's very good. The different shifts that they have, it's 4 days. It's first shift inside. There's no third shift, but 10-hour shifts, and there's overtime as well. And it's been a great opportunity for people to take advantage of this.
Thanks to the mild weather so far this winter, Fall River's snow removal budget is in excellent shape. That from the city's Department of Community Maintenance Director, John Perry.
We're actually doing very well, considering the fact that Mother Nature's been kind to us this year, and we hope that continues. The last thing we want to do is go down and ask for funds to cover a deficit in snow. Unfortunately, we all know that's not always a reality, so we try to keep things as tight to the vest as we can and stay within that budget if at all possible.
And I know you're very new on the job, but what is the budget?
For the snow budget, we had allotted $475,000, or in that range, within 5 or 10,000 of that number, and that's what we allot. With snow, it's funny because you have to allot a certain amount, but if you go over that, snow is separate from all other budgets. So if you go over that and you don't use the funds, they get tied up for the rest of the year. So it's best to put in a number that you think might be reasonable. If you go over it, you can always request more funds, but if you stay within it, then we don't have to go out and ask for any more. So.
Perry was hired as the new DCM director earlier this month, replacing Adriano Ponciano, who was moved into the second of command position in that same department. Despite being new to the job, Perry is not new to what the position entails.
I've been here 17 years, and all of those years I've had a part in snow removal from the DPW garage. That's where it really all starts. So being there firsthand, dealing with that, setting up the crews, knowing what we're going to use to fight a snowstorm, whether it be a dusting or an inch like we had the other night, or whether it be a 13, 14-inch storm like we had last week. I've been intimately involved with it, as well as dealing with individuals such as you said, as Kenny Pacheco and Terry Sullivan as well, prior to Ken. I worked very closely with them. It's been invaluable, the knowledge that they've passed on through the years to myself, and I do my best to try to keep those lessons in mind each day.
Fall River residents are invited to attend a march to ensure women's rights are honored under the new U.S. presidential administration. The march will be held Saturday, and hundreds of thousands of women are expected to march in cities across the country to quietly demonstrate their desire to keep the rights that they've worked so long for over the past 2 decades, including equal pay and mandatory paid family sick leave, remain intact. Local resident Jean Fox serves as a member of the Bristol County Commission on the Status of Women. She visited FRCmedia studios this week to urge Fall River residents to march alongside her and others in Boston.
Day after the inauguration of President Trump, there will be huge numbers of people all across the country, not just in Washington, D.C., but all across the country and in certain cities globally, that will be out to raise awareness not only on women's issues, but family issues, LGBTQ issues, issues that we have made significant progress on as a society that we want to make sure are maintained in the coming administration. So this isn't a protest. This is just an awareness building exercise. Some 85,000 women are expected to descend on Washington, D.C. We expect thousands on the Boston Common. And I truly believe we're going to have an excellent turnout, and I think it's going to be a time for people to gather together in support of the societal improvements we have made and to gather as a unified front to advocate that we continue supporting those improvements.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
This is Shelby. Shelby's a Jack Russell mix. She's about 16 years old, though from her condition you wouldn't know it, and her demeanor too. She's still very spry and getting good condition. She used to have a home, but it was an elderly person. They couldn't take care of her anymore and themselves at the same time. So they brought her here to try and find a good place for her. She would definitely make a good companion for an older person. And she would actually qualify for our Seniors for Seniors program. She can be a little distractible, as you can tell, but you know, Jack Russell, they kind of do their own thing with plenty of gusto. But if you'd like to come and see her, we are Forever Paws at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Today I'd like to introduce Parrot to you. We named her Parrot because she likes to sit on your shoulder and talk a lot. She's about 2 years old, female, spayed, up to date with everything. I don't see any problems with putting her with younger children, not too terribly young, but I think she would be very interactive. You can come and see her at Forever Paws. Our phone number is 508-677-9154.
The State Board of Higher Education this week gave its unanimous approval to the appointment of Dr. Laura Douglas as the incoming president of Bristol Community College. Current president Dr. John Sprague is retiring in August after 17 years of service. Dr. Douglas, who currently works in higher education in Iowa, is expected to start her new job July 1st. Bristol Community College was the site of this week for the 17th annual breakfast ceremony to honor the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. During the event, the winners of the poster and essay contests were announced. In addition, BCC alumnus Christopher Onyenuga was awarded the 2017 Distinguished African American Alumnus Award. Onyenuga gave a speech based upon the principles of social justice equality, a topic that Dr. King worked so hard to achieve for the Black community.
Allow yourself to be vulnerable and feel uncomfortable. I finished my education here at BCC in 2012 with a GPA of 3.19 and had a Dean's List a few semesters. I decided that I wasn't done learning, and I enrolled at Wentworth Institute of Technology in Boston, Massachusetts. While I was enrolled there, I became very involved with many student programs and living on campus. I was very involved with mentoring, volunteering, community service, as well as began to grow as a leader, as well as a follower. I recognize that you need to learn how to follow and emulate the right people. I became the president of the National Society of Black Engineers, Wentworth chapter, which helped change my life. I was able to travel, network, and become a leader and learn the importance of giving back. When you leave this earth, you want to be remembered as a net positive effect to your community. I grew as a man, a friend, a boyfriend, and an individual during my 3 years at Wentworth. So even with the recognition from the college through scholarships, campus acknowledgements, still, how do you measure your success? I'm focused on becoming a well-rounded individual, spiritually, intellectually, educationally, and in all directions. At times, you have to push yourself to your capacity to see what you can physically handle. At Wentworth, it was rare that I went to bed before 2 a.m., and then I woke up the next morning and did it all over again.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch FRC Media News Thursday and Friday at 6 p.m. and online 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.